Namaste, angels. Thank you for joining, liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. If you have not yet become a subscriber and are interested in doing so, please hit the bell button and the subscribe button, and be sure to hit both if you want to receive notifications. This channel suffers from a really ridiculous problem with notifications not going out, with the videos not showing up in the feed, that either YouTube is constantly contacting me about, or I'm constantly contacting YouTube about. After hearing feedback from you guys that, you know, you weren't notified, you missed a video, or you hit play and it wouldn't work for you, like all kinds of crazy stuff that happens with the channel. So I feel like I kind of work for YouTube sometimes, but unfortunately we have not come to a resolution. We never seem to find a resolution to the problem. They just keep asking me to, you know, have you guys who continue to live with these issues to submit feedback and to make sure you're hitting both of the buttons to better ensure, I guess at least, that you get the notifications. So I apologize for sounding like a broken record all the time, that I have to constantly keep talking about it, because I don't even like the whole idea, you know, the algorithm, the setup, and this need for likes and whatnot. I'm not even really a fan of that, but that's the way it works, and it's gotten worse since Google took over and purchased the company, which was about 2 years ago. And so I'm having to, you know, do what everybody else does, and you know, whereas those of you who've been on my channel since the beginning, you know that I'd be like, you know, like it, if you do, I appreciate it, the recognition, but it's not a big deal, and I wouldn't even mention it most of the time. Now I'm having to mention it all the time. So I apologize. Off my soapbox. Cancer, this is your reading. For a lot of you, it has something to do with a relationship, a partnership. We have these two twos here. And we've got a 5 of Swords in reverse in the position. This 2 of Wands is in the position surrounding you. And for me, the 2 of Wands is a positive card. A lot of people consider it to be a representative of like a stalemate, like nothing's happening. But I don't see it that way, because I see it in the framework of manifestation. Manifestation, it consists of 4 steps, if you ask me. The first is the thought, the idea, right? The words we speak over ourselves, things that pop into our head. It's important for them to be positive. And that's why when we see like 11s, or certainly 1111, it doesn't mean, ooh, look, I'm a twin flame. That's not what it means at all. It's an alert from the universe telling you to like pause, like in that moment, stop what you're doing right now and make sure that the thoughts that you're thinking over yourself are positive, because you're in the middle of manifesting. And so when we get to 2, we don't really see anything that's happening. And maybe that's why some people feel that the 2 of Wands represents a stalemate, because it's like, I can't see what's going on. The 2s are when we need to have faith and to trust the process and trust ourselves, our abilities to manifest, and trust in the universe that when you send that kind of energy out, that it repays you, because that's what we've been taught about the laws of karma and the laws of attraction. So that's what the 2 is about. Then when the 3 of Wands shows up, is when we can begin to see something taking form, shape, if we've held on to this faith. That's when we begin to see something tangible, but it's like on the horizon, and we've got to remain a little bit more patient for, you know, either us to continue to draw it near, or for us to be able to go to it and grab it. And then at the 4 of Wands, that's the joy. That's where we're happy. Our foundation is solid on 4 legs. So this being your card, to me, is super positive, but it does mean you guys got to maintain your faith in yourselves, in the universe, and in those things that you're manifesting, your projects, your work, all areas of your life, your relationships. If you're interested in keeping them, you need to, you know, have faith and then do the work. Now we have in the position of love and relationship, actually the Knight of Pentacles upright. And the Knight of Pentacles is super methodical. He may be an actual direct earth sign, maybe an actual person. This is a court card. Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus, perhaps with you're involved, or somebody you met at work, or that you deal with at work, a co-worker or something. Or it could be somebody that you feel, you know, has a particular work ethic, really committed to work and effort in the general sense, and is generous and dedicated, perhaps unlike yourself, but not necessarily. This could be your energy too, the way it's showing up down here in the love and relationship area. But where the 2 of Wands crosses it in love and relationships. It tells you not only do we need to have faith and remain on path and committed, but that if we want to, we need balance. If we want relationships to be successful, we need balance in both, work and play. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, Jill a dull girl. But you can't just play either. So we need to, make time for other people. Now, we have an overall energy of the Queen of Pentacles, who's a super nurturer, but she's in reverse too. So when she's in reverse in the position, like consider, for example, the love and relationships, with this Knight of Pentacles upright, she may be, or you may be, maintaining a relationship, like for the sake of maintaining a relationship, for the sake of being right. And so you're like sacrificing yourself. And that's why the coins are falling down. It's like it's a self-sacrifice. You're not nurturing yourself because you're only in the relationship and you're not happy. You got to decide like what's more important to you, to be right, or to have people perceive you as right, or to be happy. I think there's a cliche phrase, quote or something that goes along with that, but I don't remember what it is. You guys may know. You can put it in the comments if you do. I think there's a saying that goes something like that. But this is interesting. I didn't know it's upside down or in reverse, but the King of Wands is right here behind this Queen of Pentacles, who is also in reverse. And so I was just talking about the Wands and the Two of Wands, and I was going to suggest to you that the majority of you who are, having these relationship issues, it is involving not only Cancer energy, but also that of Wands or fire, maybe most specifically Leo, Sagittarius, and then Aries in that order. Certainly an earth sign, any one of them, Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus, a lot of earth energy showing up in just these few cards that we got here. And swords, air, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. That's with whom the majority of you are dealing. And I'm seeing that from the other cards that are here on the table. This Two of Wands here, that's representative of your energy, crossing, for example, the Knight of Pentacles that's in the love place, says that you need to pay attention to, again, balance and equity, equality in your relationships. And maybe not just in terms of work and play, like what you're doing, but between the two of you, the workload, so to speak, in the relationship, the level of responsibility. And the Knight of Pentacles also talks about responsibility in a relationship. Basically we all have duties as a relationship is involved. It's not all about fun and play and stuff. And so, again, in consideration of the Queen of Pentacles in reverse, you're having to perform these duties and to maintain a level of responsibility toward a relationship in which, again, you perhaps are not happy. It shows a need for particularly a feminine energy that's involved here to focus on her home life and like whatever that means to her. Like, what does home represent to you? They say home is where the heart is. So it doesn't have to be like your actual house or whatever, but whatever that is, those things, you need to prioritize those. So if you're sacrificing those and yourself for a relationship that's going nowhere fast, the Cancer, this reading over the next 2 weeks is suggesting to you that you're hurting yourself, and you don't deserve it. You don't deserve it. You deserve happiness and love and, fabulosity like everybody else. And so you want to pay attention to that and maybe cut any ties and end any toxic relationships of that nature that you're having with anybody. Now, for the positive in your relationships, we have it sitting, this is your position of work and finance, but looking past that right now, we have this Knight of Pentacles in the position of love and relationship sitting next to the Two of Swords upright. And of course, in the Two of Swords upright, just in the illustration of this card, I see your energy, I see all that water, I see the moon. Cancer is actually ruled by Earth's moon. So that I definitely, see your energy along with that of potentially an air sign, although this is not a court card. Regardless, when this shows up, the Two of Wands upright shows up with regard to love, it is a good omen. It tends to mean that we're going to move into, a lighter, energy space, easier to move around, a more balanced situation, like where we have a mutual respect for one another, and each party, as equals, plays, a particular part, a role, and is responsible in that sense for their duties, and neither's duties are sort of dumped on the other. The relationship isn't like a 70-30 or 80-20. We have a 50-50 or a 100-100. Some people like to choose to look at it. It is important, however, when the swords shows up, to not necessarily look for happiness in the other person, right? Don't look outside yourself for happiness in the other person or another person. If you're single, you're looking for love, you want to be careful not to do that either. Because if you're able to be prepared to both give and receive, so here we go with the 50-50 again, and the equality, the equity, and to recognize that you have a responsibility first to yourself and then to your partnerships, then inclusive of those who are single, the type of relationship that you truly want, deserve, and perhaps even need. Some of us, say we need I need a man, I don't need a man, or could, apply to women too. But perhaps, need as well. That's what's going to come to you. Again, speaking of those laws of attraction and karma, that's how that works. Specifically speaking about love in this regard, with this Two of Swords upright, I'm sorry, not love, work. It's in the position of work and finance. If you are awaiting a decision, because the Two of Swords can be about decisions, and usually in looking at the card, it's like, the woman is sort of blind, and that's why she has no idea what to do, except she's not really. She's got a very loosely tied, bandana or something around her eyes, and if she just would put down one of the swords and pull that thing off her head, she could see. But in this case, in this position of work and finance, she's actually sort of blind or handicapped, to the extent that because she's waiting for someone else to make a decision. And when the card shows up here in that position, it's basically telling you may have to, continue to exercise some patience. However, it is crossing, this energy that surrounds you is the Five of Swords in reverse. So there may also be a conflict, or you may be conflicted, again, because you're awaiting this decision, and maybe you're becoming impatient. But if you at all want your job, and I say, it sounds funny, but I'm serious. If you're at all interested in keeping and maintaining your job, you're going to want to be careful to not like flip, while you're in this position, not go flipping on anybody and acting crazy because you haven't got an answer yet, because it will not serve you well at all. In your areas of finance, as opposed to work, right? The first was work, finance in terms of how your money flow is going. Similar to what I said about the other placements, and as it relates to twos, it's going to be about balance. So, there's going to be a need for you to exercise some level of caution, but not paranoia. Make sure that you know where you are, money-wise, your balance, and what you can afford to spend or not afford to spend. In terms of like loaning people money, you don't lend anybody anything that you yourself need. And that may be a runoff or run over of energy from the Gemini reading, because in that placement, we had a different card, but I said something similar to Gemini with relation to, people asking if they could borrow money and stuff. It's going to be important for you to make sure you can afford to say yes before you do. And if you cannot, then you need to feel comfortable saying no. And people need to understand, right, that we all have our responsibility and role. And so I'm not being mean to you by saying no. I'm being responsible in my own life and in my own finances, because I got to pay my rent too, or whatever the case may be. So I guess as it relates to the work or the love and relationship, with this Five of Swords, which represents the energy that is surrounding you. So it can be in part your energy, or maybe in a more indirect way, because it's your friends, your family, your coworkers, or other people or energies that surround you. This, energy of potential conflict and stuff. As it relates to your work or your relationships, you're going to want to pick your battles, as they say, and certainly don't create a conflict where there is none. Don't try to pick any arguments or start any arguments, because again, it will not end well for you, Cancer. But as long as you, respect the flow of energy and the need for love to be able to pass both ways, and give and take, and how the law of attraction works and how the law of karma works, you are going to be not only fine, but good over this next 2 weeks. Just a little bit of patience, and I think absent conflict, I think you'll get some nice news about whatever this is you're waiting for. Or maybe it's your an answer as to whether or not you're going to get a raise, or you can take a vacation, or because wands can be about movement. Maybe you want to go somewhere, and you ask for time off. You're waiting for an answer for that, promotion or some other opportunity or something. With it sitting next to the Knight of Pentacles, again, upright, that's usually slow and steady, consistent growth. So I do see a positive answer for you if you don't act a fool. Further to that, I'm using 2 oracle decks for advice at the end, and I'd just like to share the overall energy of each. And the first one is Kuan Yin, care and compassion. Choose to be love and do what's right for everyone involved. Offer a helping hand. This was one of the indications for me that there may be an air sign involved in the situation when Kuan Yin showed up. But I think her message here is super important too, especially as it relates to what I was saying about the love and relationship. Like if you're holding on to a man or to a woman just so somebody else can't have them, and you're miserable, but the relationship between the two of you is dead, or just so they can't, maybe it's not even so somebody else can't have them, just so they can't be alone if they want to be alone, or you can't be alone because it doesn't look right. It's not the right way things are supposed to happen, and you're trying to prove a point that's not going to be, you're not going to be able to prove. All you're going to do is continue to make yourself and or the other person miserable. Then there's a need to instead choose to be love. Rather than choosing to be right, choose to be love and let go of that situation and allow things to be more organic. Also upright, speaking of organic, and the potential for earth signs to also have some sort of relationship here with Cancer, or to Cancer. Maybe you're, like a Cancer sun, but I don't know, Virgo moon or something like that. Earth energy we also have showing up. Gaia, also upright behind Kuan Yin. Earth connection. Be mindful of the planet and come back to Earth. Stay grounded. So yeah, you do want to stay grounded and level-headed. And to that end, with these 2 cards coupled together, again, what makes sense? What is logical? And what is illogical? It's logical for you to do what's best for yourself and other people in a situation. It is illogical for you to fight the current and try to hold on to situations and energies that are, trying to remove themselves from you, or the energy of the universe is trying to remove from you. More, earth energy too here with Paul the Venetian. Experiencing grace. Share your gifts with grace. Waves of inspiration and love are coming to you. They definitely kind of come to you. And I think that the waves are definitely representative of your energy as a water sign. And so it's coming to you in that form. But you're, again, trying to block the current when you fight against it. So you definitely don't want to do that. And speaking of fire signs, and perhaps Leo and or Sagittarius first and foremost, this card, Sun, open your heart to the enormous growth ahead. So that with the growth also representative, again, of more earth signs. A lot of you probably dealing with earth signs, but we have this huge sun here. The sun in the tarot represents the sign of Sagittarius, which is ruled by Jupiter, and Earth's star, the sun, rules the sign of Leo. So I would say, of course, maybe some Aries energies could be involved here too, but I would say that one was, last, or at least second to Leo and Sagittarius, which may be equal for those of you who are dealing with fire signs. Also upright behind that is marriage. You're attracting emotional fulfillment and unconditional love. So this is another indication that love wants to come to you, but you're doing, like you're blocking it with potentially negative energy, and I don't think on purpose. I think, again, like, because you want to do what's right. So, the way you were raised, for example, it's right to remain married forever, even if the marriage is failing, in your opinion, you're unhappy there. So you're forcing yourself to remain with somebody when they need to go and you need to go. But for others, again, there's positive outcomes as it relates to love when we seek balance and put some effort toward balance and make sure that we're nurturing ourselves and our relationships and not just tending to other, business. Also upright, speaking of the fire signs, Phoenix. Be prepared to be renewed after a period of crisis. So again, conflict, crisis, always here as a potential, but I think a way for us to avoid it. But for those who go through it, if you allow it to happen organically and for you to just experience the energy, let it pass over you, then there is, again, a positive outcome. But if you bring on conflict that doesn't need to be in your life, you bring it upon yourself, then I don't think you're going to experience the same happiness afterward. Further to this, for the masculine, specific to you, for an advice card from the fortune reading cards is plain. So this is totally like a Cancer energy for me. Again, about movement, perhaps even vacationing, visiting somebody, or revisiting a situation or a circumstance. If you want to look at it in like a metaphoric way, the term visiting or traveling, moving. A journey is indicated, either physically or metaphorically, and your life will become more full. For the feminine, more of this earth. Flowers, be generous. Success and emotional fulfillment are yours. And I think that's what your whole relationship has been about. Either success, and prosperity in work and finance, or emotional fulfillment in terms of love and happiness. So I think this is super appropriate for you. From my Keepers of the Light Oracle to the masculine, Odin, psychic insight. Your third eye is open. See truth for what it is and follow your intuition. So masculine, it could be you that's holding on to a relationship. Like, I'm not giving up my woman. Nah, I'm not really into her anymore, but I'm not, going to let some other man have her. Why would I do that? You know how y'all can be. You're guided to use your intuition, also like your wisdom, your leadership capabilities, and to be a truth seeker and a truth liver, right? Living in truth and allowing other people to do the same. And feminine for you, Hilarion, divine healing. Honor your sensitivity. Retreat in order to recharge and heal. Your light can support others. And this is more earth energy for you. Could definitely be guiding you to get out into nature, spend some time with Gaia, Mother Nature, the planet Earth, sort of like recharging yourself. It's getting cooler, but if you at all live in an area that's conducive to maybe stepping in some soil or sand, or, at the beach or in a park or grassy knoll or field, if you can take your shoes off, I think you guys should. Some of you are able to work with crystals, maybe even outside. I would definitely take advantage of the next major moon cycle if you haven't been doing that, or if you haven't recently charged your crystals. So allow them to help you with that healing. When is the next one? I think it's the 26th actually, which is not that far off. What is that? Next weekend? That may be the new moon in Scorpio. Don't quote me, but I just got that. And if it is, that's a good time for you guys to get outside with your crystals and allow them to charge, or at least put them out, maybe on a windowsill or something, a terrace, and let them help you with your healing. I hope that you guys have found the reading helpful as well, that you enjoyed it. If you did find it helpful, please give it a thumbs up. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. And certainly if you both enjoyed it and found it helpful, I need the thumbs up. You guys know already why. I went through the whole spiel in the beginning. Thanks again for joining, liking, sharing, and subscribing. If you would like any personal services from me, reading, energy healing, or the cool merchandise that I have available either at Teespring or my Social 6 page, do check out the description box. Thanks again for watching. Check out your moon and rising sign as well. Namaste.